Did you know that intermittent fasting affects women and men differently? Well, in this video, I'm going to share my 6 tips for intermittent fasting, specifically for women. Now, one of the things that was discovered, and if we take a look at this study, it was found that reproductive hormones are affected differently with intermittent fasting. For instance, this study found that time-restricted eating led to a decrease in DHEA levels in women, and this is a hormone, of course, that in its breakdown products forms estrogen and testosterone. And this potentially could have implications for women depending on what age and stage they are in their life. We know that DHEA creating estrogen, and we know that in perimenopause and menopause, when estrogen levels are naturally declining, maybe intermittent fasting is contraindicated because we don't know how much that will affect the already declining estrogen levels. Just something to think about. Now, some more research is interesting, and this was a 12-week study which demonstrated that time-restricted eating, so eating within an 8-hour window combined with exercise, so this was cardio and some weight training, led to greater reductions in body mass index. So there was weight loss and loss of fat mass, and improvements also in insulin sensitivity compared to just exercise alone, and this was a study done in menopausal women. So we definitely know that there are benefits for intermittent fasting, and of course doing it the right way, especially for, in this case, menopausal women, and combining that with exercise to see more of that fat loss. But like I said, doing intermittent fasting the right way, and here are my 6 tips on how to do it the right way, is important because a lot of people do it wrong, and a lot of people actually gain weight, which is not what their goal is when they're doing their intermittent fasting because they're doing it the wrong way. Okay, let's get to the tips. Okay, tip number 1 for intermittent fasting, specifically for women, is to try to choose an 8-hour eating window. Tip number 2 is to not skip your breakfast. You want to eat a good, healthy breakfast, so that usually starts that 8-hour eating window for the day is by having that big, healthy breakfast. Okay, tip number 3 is to usually skip dinner. So by the time you've had your breakfast, and again, remember, as close to sunrise as possible is going to be important for your circadian biology to get those fat burning and to also optimize your hormones, especially for women. Really important to have that early breakfast, skipping that dinner, and optimizing those circadian rhythms at the same time. Okay, tip number 4, especially if fasting or intermittent fasting is new to you and you're struggling through those hours when you are fasting and you can't eat anything, you can drink non-calorie beverages. So for me, this is herbal teas, of course unsweetened. It could be coffee or decaf coffee. It could also be a naturally sweetened, like a stevia sweetened soda as a little treat, just to get you through that fasting period. Okay, tip number 5 is to make sure you're optimizing your electrolytes. So this is magnesium, this is salt, this becomes very important, your potassium levels as well. And making an electrolyte drink is something that I share in another video that you can check out that recipe. Super, super helpful so that you're not getting the headaches and some of the side effects of the fasting phase, which is very common, especially when you first start doing your intermittent fasting. And tip number 6, we know, especially if you're targeting that fat loss, is to exercise as well. So whether that's HIIT training, cardio training, lifting your weights, really important, especially for our bone density, for maintaining our muscle mass, and doing it when you have the energy to do so becomes very important when you're intermittent fasting. So maybe it's not always on the fasting days. You've probably heard me talk about intermittent fasting, so you're not doing this every single day of the week. You're taking breaks from the intermittent fasting, so maybe on your non-fasting days is when you really go hard in terms of doing that exercise. And ideally, of course, outside under natural sunlight, the best way to exercise. Now, I do want you to try my electrolyte drink. I'm telling you, it is going to save you. It is so fantastic, great for sports as well. I do have the recipe in another video. Please check it out. Keto electrolyte drink. I'll see you there.